Hello, everybody. Welcome to another Sunday night chat. Got some good guys here on the panel, and maybe if there's a few more invites sent out there, and may have a few more guests. We don't know. We'll see. But in the meantime, we'll run with what we got, and I guess I'll start with Blue. Would you like to do an intro, Blue?
No, thanks for the invite. As always, I threw a video up right before we went live. I don't know, probably about 9 o'clock. Finally, the weather broke up here in Northwest PA. It was like 50 degrees today. So I took the C-Max rifle out that I won off of that raffle. Went ahead and put 120 rounds through it, and not an issue whatsoever. So it was awesome. So check out that video. It's like a 5-minute video. I mean, it's just me shooting it, but check it out. That's the latest I've got. I'm not really putting too many videos up as of late, but I can't wait to get the chat started and see where we go. So thanks.
Yep. Oh, damn. I forgot to mute myself. Anyway, just in case, hey, Luke, you got a link in your inbox on the YouTube in case you want to join. Guy out there in the audience. Daniel, would you like to do an intro?
Hey, thanks for having me on there, TR. Appreciate the invite as always. And let's see where it goes tonight.
Trying to share and blah, 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 and all this stuff. Anyway, my computer's not working fast enough for me. Rick, reloading Rick. Would you like to do an intro?
Sure, welcome, and thanks for the invite as always. Yeah, we've been doing a lot of reloading, trying out the new Frankfurt Arsenal Platinum trimmer. It's saving me a lot of time and a lot of heartache, but got a couple videos out, a couple live chats today, having fun, hanging out with the community. But other than that, let's have fun. I will be leaving early. I got to go pick up my daughter in a little bit. She's a volleyball superstar and is coming back from Arkansas for a tournament. So other than that, the bus should arrive here in a little while. But thanks for the invite.
All right. While we got Rick here, I don't want to run anybody off. Blue has a little bit of experience with a different reloader. I think you do, Blue. I know you are at least part owner in a progressive reloader. I don't know how much you've used it, but Daniel was asking some questions while we were off air about progressive reloaders. Not necessarily Dylan, but that's what we were talking about. Rick's got a 650. I got a 550. A lot of YouTubers out there. I know Pops and Big Meat Sunday got the 650. We're not even going to get into the 1050. That's like pro level. We're going to keep it down here on the peon level. And I don't know that you've even used a 550, Rick, but I know Live for Wild. I see him out there. He has a 550 or two. To be honest, between the two, from what I've seen, this is just my personal opinion. If you got the money and you want that little bit of extra options the 650 gives you, it's probably well worth the money. But at the same time, I think the 550 is going to do pretty much anything anybody wants. It'll load any rifle, pistol cartridge pretty much out there other than a 50 BMG or a shotgun shell, of course. But other than that, I mean, it is a progressive reloader. You just have to manually index it every shot, every pull the handle. That's the main difference. But there is some options the 650 has. If anybody's looking at them, you can have a powder check die. You can get case feeders. You may be able to get bullet feeders, but I'm not sure on that. You'd have to let me know on that, Rick. I don't know. You got any input?
Yeah, I think some of the biggest things about it is for both of them, you can get the case feeder, and the case feeder is what makes it unstoppable, basically. Like you can actually start really cranking out the rounds having a case feeder, you know, and it's like it's light years. Either one is light years ahead of a single stage, even a turret press. Just the ability of the case feeder for sure is a huge advantage, but it depends on how much you're shooting too. I mean, a 450, I mean a 550 will get you pretty much everything you need. You can get a case feeder for it, but the 650 has a few extra things it can do. It can basically, like you said, the powder check is kind of a, if you want to crank out ammo and confirm that everything's working well, especially like a good example is this. I made 4,000 rounds. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 800 rounds. Sorry, of competition stuff for a certain gun, and I want to confirm that the powder is always right. You know, what if I'm looking down or my phone rings or a text comes in and I miss one shell? You know, not to say that I'm good because I really suck still, but like maybe that's the one. Maybe I really screw up. I get a squib. Now my barrel's out. Now I've just lost a ton of points because everything that I wasn't able to shoot at, basically failure to neutralize, or, you know, I'm basically getting not disqualified, but I'm losing a weapon out of the 3. That can take you out of the game, you know, and at my level, it doesn't really matter. But for people that are, you know, like everybody's striving to get better, like that ruins your whole day. So it's like, I mean, I case check every one. Anything that I'm going to try to run in a competition, I case check every one. Some people just kind of will pick, you know, a few out of the 100. But I figure for what it takes to check it, which isn't very long, why not do it instead of having a bad day? You know, because there's plenty of stuff that's going to screw up your day other than that. So one less thing is good. You know, you can get disqualified because your safety knocked off, you know, or knocked back on or whatever. So, but as far as the 650 and the 550, and both of us, TR and I, both have a Dillon Square B, and it's hanging up there on the wall because once I got the 650, I really haven't gone back to the. I was thinking I would utilize that more for like a special round, and like say I wanted to blast out 9mm. Well, having the case feeder is what makes you blast anything out. So if you have the money, or even if you don't have the money, just buy the unit and get the other shit later. And then you can always buy that. You can always buy this and the mount and the blah, 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 and the so on and so forth. But at least you're starting with like, it's like buying a race car, right? You don't have the money to buy the tricked out one. So you buy the actual one that has the badass motor. And then later on you buy the race tires and the shocks and, you know, all the shit. So someday you will have a really nice race car. That's all I got to say about that.
And I've got a lot to add to this because I am part owner in like I don't even know what the press is. I've never actually seen it. I've never operated it. So yeah, that's my insight. All I do is collect the casings and give to the guys and feed them some money every now and again, and that's pretty much my my input. Which I've got the easy part: pick up the casings, give them some money. I get some bullets.
That's the way to reload.
All right, I got the latest and greatest Dillon catalog out, February 2018. Like I said, I'm not going to down the Square Deal B because I do have one, but if I had to do it all over again, I wouldn't have bought it. I'd have bought the 550. Square Deal B is $425. The 550 is $480. The 650 is $590. And of course, the 1050 is $1,800 plus. So you're talking about $100, a little over $100 between the 550 and the 650. So it is a little bit upgrade over the 550. You just have to decide if that's worth it or not to you. You know. So Either one. But I like my 550.
I'll give you a good example, TR. I just finished, I don't know, I'd say 1,500 rounds of 223, right? Of just, you know, there's all these steps involved for those of you that don't know. But so I got it all tumbled. I sprayed it all down. I was able to throw it in the case feeder. And then from there, all I was doing was basically utilizing it as a single stage press, but I didn't have to put each shell in the holder. So I would decap it and resize, and then I would grab it out in the primer spot. So I just kept doing that, and then I'd throw it in a bucket. I kind of talked about it earlier on my chat, but it's basically a super powerful single stage press, if you want to think about it, for doing that, because you got to trim it and stuff. So I basically don't have to do any of that anymore. I mean, I still got to trim and stuff, but it just makes it easy, because then it's just, you know, I'm depriming and resizing. So that's one advantage to having the case feeder, like a big advantage. Like when you do 1,000 of those, it saves you a lot of steps. You just pour it in the top and it funnels down.
Yeah, and on the just so I don't mislead anybody, if I'm not mistaken, I'd have to look in the catalog again. You can get a case feeder for a 550, but only for pistols, not rifles. Why, I don't know. I hadn't seen the mechanism, but I don't have one, so I don't know. But I think that it's only, you can get a case feeder for pistols, but not rifles for the 550. Now, 650, they'll do either one. So, but you can still pump out, if you get into a rhythm, you can do 400 or 500 rounds an hour with a 550 or 650, probably more with a 650, but that's if you're got extra primer tubes. No matter what Dillon you buy, even a 1050, it only holds 100 primers at a time. And it uses the same powder measure. I don't care what Dillon it is. It all uses the same powder measure. So there's no limitations there. They all use that the same. So if you want to crank out a lot of ammo, you got to get extra primer tubes to have it. Just, you know, have like 5 primer tubes sitting there filled with 100 primers, and you can just keep cranking them out, reload those. But anyway, we were talking about that pre-chat. I just thought we would continue the conversation while it was fresh on our minds.
And while we're still kind of talking about the reloading thing, there's some people out there, and I'm one of them. And TR, we talked about it with the AR ammo. You know, right now it's so cheap that it's not really, you might as well buy it instead of reloading it. But what's your thought as far as keeping brass, keeping bullets, keeping primers, keeping that stuff, so that because if the ammo's cheap right now, so are the components to reload. So buy it now so that if the shit starts bumping up, you have it, or if, you know, shit hits the fan, the prepper in you kicks in and you can make your own. Yeah,
absolutely. Right now I'm buying steel case ammo for 223. I mean, far as buying bullets, if you're buying full metal jacket bullets and reloading 223, I forget the math. It was either every 500 rounds. I'm going to say I based it on 500 rounds. It was only like 20 or 30 bucks difference, if that. Like I could save 20 bucks by reloading it myself, and it's just not worth the time. Later, Rick.
Before I go, the more gizmo gadgets you get, like this right here, saves a ton of time. And I got a video I'll be doing on that, but that thing has helped me drastically. I would have done like a third of what I've done today. So it was like 148 bucks, but it was well worth it. But you guys have a great one. Thanks for showing up and supporting TR. Daniel, Blue, nice seeing you guys again. And I'm gonna go pick up my daughter. So you guys stay safe, and I'll see you on the next one. Sorry I couldn't stay longer.
Drive safe, Rick.
Have a good one, man.
See you
later. Yeah, but definitely save all your brass. It's still a buyer's market right now. Buy your bullets. I mean, I know I can cast 223. I got the stuff to do that. But there again, right now, the last 1,000 rounds of bullets I bought just for stock. I mean, I hadn't even opened them. I don't know how many I bought, but it's not as many as probably some people think. But I know the last 1,000 I bought for $89.99, delivered to my door. 1,000 bullets, from Everglades. And I just bought them to be buying them because at 1,000 rounds for $90, it depends on your situation. But to be honest with you, because at the current time, the mold I have for 223, it's a 2-cavity mold. It's not worth $90 of my time to load 1,000 rounds of lead bullets, separate them, get the good ones out, throw out any bad ones, because you got to kind of, quality control your own stuff. And then maybe I used to gas check them, but okay, powder coating saves some times. Then go through the process of powder coating 1,000 rounds, then reload them. And then with casting my own, I can save more than $20, but if I figure in my time, I'm not really saving that much now. But 45 long Colt, 45 ACP, 9mm, 38, 357, 30-06, 8mm. If by any other case out there, I can justify my time other than 223. It's just too cheap to buy it right now.
Mm-hmm.
The key in on that there, TR. I mean, right now, since the prices of a lot of this stuff is lower than we've seen it here in the last past, it's time to stock up now, because we really don't know where we're going to be in 2 years from now. Because with politics today, it's just a high school popularity election to vote for who is the most popular.
Yeah, it's a buyer's market right now. If you want a 300 blackout, or any other, hell, even a 223, if you want an AR-15 and you don't own one, you better be looking at laying one away or something. Right now is the time to buy ammo and guns.
Mm-hmm.
If nothing else, even if there's not another gun scare, just inflation they're going to start creeping back up. So now's the time to stock up, stock deep and hard. I would sacrifice shooting time, like not spend money shooting to stock up on ammo right now. If I had a choice, okay, well, I could stock up on some ammo, or I could just go shooting. If that's the choice, stock up. Stock. Primers, powder, brass, full loaded ammo. I don't care if you're just buying it at Walmart. Now's the time to buy. And then once you get comfortable, then you can back off on that and shoot a little bit, or do a little bit of both at the same time. I mean, there's a balance with everything.
And it's like I'm new to this. I'm new to this pistol stuff, but I'll tell you what. In the last 2 months, I bought 9 50-round boxes of 9mm and a box of 2,000, full metal jacket bullets to reload. I have 600 bullets left loaded. I went through everything.
Well, that's the thing that, especially anybody new into reloading, maybe not new into shooting, but new into reloading, or even new to shooting, maybe. Definitely new to shooting. I know, like my buddy Tool Monkey, a lot of people hear me talk about him. You see him out there a little bit here and there. I got him into reloading, or he got interested in reloading because I was reloading, and he was like, can you help me out? Can you show me the ropes? His first purchase, and he's not the only one. I've showed how to reload and pointed him, and it was just, get a single stage Lee set up for $130, and hey, you're reloading, and blah blah blah. He bought like 200 primers, like 2 packs. he said even the guy at the counter, you know, he's like, I need some primers. He said the guy threw up on the counter 5,000 primers, like a whole case. Okay, what do you need? Oh, small primer, here you go. And he was like, oh no, I just need like 2 packs. And he said the guy kind of chuckled. You know? Oh, okay, well, here you go. And then he said, like, man, 200 primers ain't nothing. I was like, yeah, you need at least buy them by the 1,000. There's no such thing as buying a pack of primers.
TR, I did the same thing when I started reloading. I bought like 3 packs, and I figured, hell, that'll last me for a month. Yeah, 1 hour later. But now I'm buying them by the thousands.
Yeah. That's I can't say that I bought 5,000 at a time, but I never buy less than 1,000 at a time.
And since we're kind of on prices, I wish I could remember who the hell said it in the external, but they said that Primary Arms has strip lowers on sale for $30, and sure as shit they do. Anderson Manufacturing AR strip lowers at primaryarms.com, $29.99 per lower.
Yep.
So if
it's
you're
a buyer's
looking
market, it really is. I mean, I hate to coin, I not coin that phrase, but say that phrase that we hear all the time. It is a buyer's market. Anything you want, and the thing with ARs, and everybody here knows, get the lowers. Don't worry about the special barrels and free floating tube and all that horse shit. Get the lowers. If you want an AR, if you think you might want an AR 5 years from now, buy the lower today.
Mm-hmm.
You can get all that other stuff through the mail. It ain't got to go through FFL, but that lower does. Go ahead and get your lower. Get that in your safe, under the bed, whatever you're gonna do with it.
30
bucks in your set, then you can build it later.
$30 is hard to beat. Does anybody know anything about Anderson Manufacturing lowers? Are they okay quality, good quality, crap?
I hadn't heard anything bad about them. I mean, most lowers are, other than a few little details on, you know, what it says as far as fire safe or whatever. I mean, they're all CNC mil spec. Whether it's a CNC machine in Michigan or Florida or wherever, it don't matter. They're all the same damn thing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they'd have to really go crappy metal for it not to be just as good as the next one.
Now, the people that own the blackouts right now, they already know. But, you know, a lot of people stay away from that because they say the price of the blackout round. But all you got to do is just 2 screws, and that gun is now a 223. So at least there you'd have more variety.
All right. And whoever said that in the chat room about this lower, I'm going to tell you right now to go screw yourself, because I'm now bookmarked, and payday, I'm going to pick up. I'm going to get 3 of them for $90. Why not? 3 of them for $90, and the FFL that I use is a good friend of ours, so he charges $5 for the background check and $5 for the transfer. So $100 for 3 lowers. I don't think I can beat that.
No, and like I said, they're all mil spec. You know, if you got a mil spec AR-15, any of us could meet up at the farm or whoever's house, and I could pop the back pin, pop the front pin out, stick my upper on your lower, and go to town.
Mm-hmm.
It's mil spec. It's interchangeable if it's mil spec. Now you get into your 308s, they're not mil spec. They're kind of brand name proprietary. You just can't mix and match those. AR-15s, it doesn't matter what lower you get.
Yeah, and somebody said something about stay away from the rejects. These are not the blemishes. These are the full out Anderson Manufacturing AR-15 strip lower receiver. It says nothing. Oh, well, actually they do. They limit you 5 per household. quantities exceeding 5 will not be checked out. That's screwed up.
Should have ordered 2 more, Blue. I would have met you at the border. We would meet at Fuzzy's house.
And it's got a 4.5-star rating out of 240 people. I mean, it's pretty damn good. Damn it. Now I'm going to have to buy. Damn it.
Well, the last lower I bought, I just bought it during the Christmas sale, PSA. Hell, they still may have them. They said blemished. I know somebody said something about blemished out there, but I know guys that have talked to the guys at the counter at PSA, and they asked them flat out, what's the difference between a blemished and a non-blemished lower? And they said nothing. They come out of the same box. My theory is, the only thing I can figure, now there may be some out there that's actually blemished, I don't know, is if they sell it retail as a blemished lower, somebody can't put it together and sell it retail at another FFL saying it's a brand new gun, a brand new PSA AR-15, because somewhere there might be some paperwork showing it's a second or blemished. I think that's the only reason they do that. But anyway, I'm lucky. I live in South Carolina. PSA's in South Carolina. I can order it from them, and I don't get all the shipping, and I get some shipping, I think, but I don't get transfer fee and all that. I don't have to worry about any of that because I order it from them and I pick it up from them. But the last one I bought, I paid $51 for out the door. And it's still in the bag. I hadn't put it together yet.
See, that's the one thing. I mean, right now, that $30, that's hard to beat. But we're coming up on income tax check time, and all these manufacturers know that, and they're going to start dumping the prices on their parts, on their lowers, on their uppers. They're going to start just bottoming things out to get people to buy them. So it would be nice to be able to do a live chat, like whenever the deals start coming in, so everybody can kind of compare what prices are what. And
excuse me. Yeah, I see. HNRE said he just built an AR from scratch for $317. Holy shit!
I just built one for 50. actually, all I had
might have been a little contest winnings involved in that.
Technically, I built it for 10 because that's all I had to pay for the background check and the transfer fee. Or yeah, so that one cost me $10. I was hurting after that.
Poor guy, you probably didn't have any money left for bullets.
That's the sad part. I don't have to pay for those either. That's the one good thing about the job that I have. It's I don't want to call them perks, but you get so much to go out and train with, and every little bit helps.
Hey, fringe benefit. Well, and it does have to do with your job.
Mm-hmm.
I know you got a little different point of view from the rest of us, and you may have some more insight. To get off a little bit off subject here, I don't know how much exposure you have to other law enforcement, but you can give us some insight. Would you say there's a lot of law enforcement officers out there that do not practice really? They may do their qualifiers, their minimum.
Oh yeah,
but they're not really shooters.
I will guarantee you that.
Okay,
if I had to put a percentage on it, let's just say I know 100 local law enforcement guys that go out. I would say out of the 100, there's maybe 10 to 15 that actually shoot at least on a weekly basis. So that stat right there, that it's scary that people are willing to do, and not only to protect their own lives, but to go out and, you know, protect other people and do what they need to do. But damn, I mean, you go out and you freaking shoot. I don't care if they're paying me or not. Literally, they give me a gun. They give me damn near all the ammo. I don't want to say all the ammo I want, but it's enough. You know what I mean? It's enough to where if you are not proficient, then there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, I mean, I shoot a decent amount. I know I shoot a lot more than your average person, period. There's no doubt about that. But sometimes I'll go weeks without shooting, and it shows up in my videos when I go outside and I can't hit that steel plate at 20, 30 feet away, you know. I mean, I'm all around it, and the camera does add pressure. I know the other day when I did like the little 4-year review, I actually unloaded the magazine, never missed. Ding, 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 ding. Turn the camera on, start talking. I can't hit the broadside of the barn, you know. But yeah, I mean, it's a what do they call it? I don't know. It's not, shit. What do they call it? Anyhow, something skill. It deteriorates. If you don't go out there and practice, you'll lose a little bit of edge, you know. I mean, if you practice, I ain't saying you got to practice every day, but the less you practice, the less accurate you're going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least for me, anyway.
Yeah, I'm trying to fix my video again. For some reason, it keeps freezing. I have no idea why.
Yeah, I know. It's just a matter of practice, and it's. I probably need to shoot more. We all need to shoot more, but if you're not shooting at least a few times a month, that you got catching up to do. And in the heat of the moment, in the life or death situation, that's not the time to start practicing.
Okay, since we're talking about guns and practicing, my son, he's studying for, law enforcement and probably going to be going to the academy here in the next year. And we got a deputy sheriff's talking about the Gen 5 Glock 17. So he's going to shoot it Wednesday. What's the ups and downs of that? I think I've read that magazines don't fit in the other Glocks. There's something different about those, or what? I know nothing about Glocks except they look blocky.
They went up from they're going to the Gen 5. Is that what you're saying? They're upgrading, basically.
Or the one police department he's doing ride-alongs with right now, they're ordering Gen 5s, the 17s.
Yeah, from what I've seen, even on the other chat the other night, the Gen 5s mags are not interchangeable with the rest of the Glocks. I did see somebody say you could change the base plate, and then they would be. It has to do with the way it fits into the grip frame. But yeah, just out of the box, you just can't. From what I understand, they're not interchangeable with other Glock mags.
See, and some people think that that's an issue, but I'm telling you right now, and this is law enforcement to law enforcement. If anybody's out there watching it, I don't care if you work for a neighboring department. If we have the exact same firearm, I don't care if you have the Gen 4 and I have the Gen 5, or we both have the Gen 4s or the Gen 5s. If I roll up on scene and you ask me for a goddamn magazine because you've gone through 3 and you haven't neutralized the situation, you're not getting my mag.
Mr. Holster says Gen 5 has longer floor plates, but other mags fit the Gen 5. Well, see, that's what I've heard was the opposite of what I've heard. The magazine itself is the same, but the floor plate is different in it. The Gen 5s evidently won't fit in other Glocks, but I was under understanding that even other mags wouldn't fit into Gen 5. But Yeah, I don't know. I'm not an expert on Glocks. I got like a Gen 3, I think, is what mine is. So
Yeah, well, we got him going. He's going to be shooting a number of different guns. So, but that I think that's the one that this guy's been talking him up on.
Now, is he actually have a shot to get in on this to the sheriff's department or wherever he's going, or is this just a ride along and they're telling him that, hey, this is what we're shooting?
That is a good question, because I know once he gets done with school, yes, he'll be able to get into a number of places.
Right. And the only reason I'm saying that is if he's just going gun ho because, hey, look, we have this gun, this is what we're shooting. I wouldn't want to see him go out and get a pistol that he's not comfortable with and start shooting. You know, if it's not a guaranteed. I mean, if it's almost guaranteed that this is where, hey, this is most likely where I'm going to go, by all means, you know, buy that firearm and get used to it now. They're going to end up issuing one to him anyway. At least most departments do. You don't have to buy your own gun. But I would maybe have a little heart to heart with him and, you know, let them know you don't need to get this gun just because this guy says that this is what their department carries, because not every department carries that. You know, get him just something that he's comfortable with. I'm sure he's shot in the past anyway, but
yeah,
that's my 2 cents. I wouldn't go out and spend, you know, $600-700 on a Gen 5 17 if, for one, maybe you don't like the feel of it, and two, you may never end up going to a department that shoots that gun.
Would you spend $400 on it?
Oh yeah,
New out of the box.
I wasn't sure how much they cost.
Yeah,
but.
well, I guess they're more, but I guess because for the way, because it's through the department, so it's looking like he's probably, you know, they're wanting him down there.
Now here's another dumbass question, which maybe he can look into, which might be actually beneficial. If he goes and buys one through the department to start working with and, you know, getting used to it, there again, would you actually want the department to buy it back so that you can carry it on duty or have another one issued? That's that's another one of those. I don't know. How does that, do you know if the department works like that? Do they furnish, or do you have to purchase your own?
They're about 30-40 miles south of me, so I'm not down that area too much.
Okay.
But I just, you know, one thing I also look at, you know, is there really a bad excuse to buy a gun?
No.
As long as it's not junk.
I'll tell you right now, there is no way in God's green earth that I would go out and buy the Glock 20 on my own. You hold it in your hand. It is heavy. It is big. There's nothing about that gun that I would go out and buy because I wanted to shoot it. However, it's what's issued to me. So that's what I'm forced to shoot. But I don't know. I don't know. You see what I'm saying? I wouldn't go out and buy it because that gun, there's no way I would ever own unless it was issued to me.
Okay. Yeah, I think Wednesday is going to open his eyes because he's going to shoot a variety of other guns too. So, so if he doesn't like the way it shoots, we won't get it.
What are they carrying where he's looking at getting a job? Do you know?
Well, it sounded like they're going to these guns, these 17 Glocks.
Okay, 17.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, the 17. So he's going to shoot some CZs. He's already got a SIG. The Kimber's a 45, so, but he's got to look at double stacked 9mm. Start getting used to those.
I don't know how it works, but I'd imagine, well, and maybe it's different for every county, every state. I don't know. I imagine whatever the issue gun is, do you have to carry that gun? Blue?
Yeah. If they issue it, you better be carrying it.
Okay, that's what I figured.
A lot of departments, what they do is your primary, if it's issued, you have to carry it. However, if you get approved like an ankle gun, something like that, they don't issue those in a lot of departments. That's up to you, and then you have to qualify with it, and then you can carry it. But that's like a backup gun's the only one you're allowed.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's what I figured. Like I say, I know I've talked about it before. I talked to one officer. He was with the, I forget what the name of it was. Anyhow, from what I gathered, they transported prisoners, and they carried the 45 GAP Glock action pistol. I don't know what the hell the GAP stands for, but it's a Glock round 45, like a little bit shorter than a 45 ACP, I think. And he bitched for 30 minutes about that round. He had to carry that damn gun. He's like, "What is a shitty cartridge? You can't find ammo." He just went on and on and on about it. But that's what he had to carry.
All right, since we're talking about guns, and this is one thing I know we've talked about many, many times, but just to clear up the air, and because I've had people ask me to buy a rifle, and I know that with rifles that I don't need to go to a gun store and do a transfer. By all means, I'm going to do a receipt. I'm going to copy down every bit of your information so that I have it on a quote unquote bill of sale. The same thing, and I'm sure it's different state to state, but I'm pretty sure, well, I think it's actually the same across state. If I sell an AR-15 to somebody, I don't have to go to an FFL for that.
Not here in Ohio, you don't. You can go buy one off your neighbor, the guy in the next city, or whatever.
Right. It's just like, but with a handgun, you have to do at least in PA, if I were to buy a handgun off of somebody, I have to go to an FFL to do a transfer on that.
Not in Ohio.
Really? Even with a pistol?
Even with a pistol.
Yeah, not in South Carolina either.
See, and that's why I'm iffy on the rifle thing, because in PA with pistols, because I just sold one, which, well, not just, about 6 months ago, I sold one and had to go to an FFL to do a transfer on it.
Now, in South Carolina, buying a handgun or a rifle is no different than buying a lawnmower as far as an individual. Now, if I buy it from a dealer, yeah, you got to do the paperwork, do the background check, and the whole 9 yards. But say if Daniel or you lived in South Carolina, I can actually run an ad in the paper. You can call me up and we can meet up, and you give me money and I give you the gun, and we're legal. We're done. It's perfectly legal.
But if you were to ship it, you'd have to ship it to an FFL.
Oh yeah, now if I had to ship it, and I don't even think I can, as an individual, can sell it out of state. But as far as you live in South Carolina and I want to sell you a gun, we ain't got to register it. We ain't got to go to a dealer. We ain't got to do anything.
See, now, what I know of here in Ohio, if I was to sell a gun to a person from another state, I would have to take it to my FFL. They would send it to his FFL, and all the transfers would be done then.
Yeah.
Now,
yep.
A question, I mean, the thing that Bizza made a comment on about New York, for that, what we're talking about here, there would be a felony. And the question is, how can a felony is a federal law that's supposed to cover all 50 states? Why is it a felony just in maybe 1 or 2 states? That's a state law. That's not a federal law. So where does this felony come in at?
Yeah, that's a good question. We've talked about felony laws before, how some states can have felonies. It's not a felony in another state, and it doesn't make any sense whatsoever. Somebody explained it, and it kind of made a little sense, but it still don't seem right. But yeah, you're right. Like if I run an ad in Gun Broker, and somebody in whatever Pennsylvania wanted to buy it, I would have to go to a local gun shop, have it shipped to another FFL for you to pick up, and we exchange money however, and that's the way you do it. You would have to go through FFL. But if my neighbor wanted to buy a gun from me, All he's got to do is trade me a car, a lawnmower, cash, or whatever, and here you go, it's yours, and we're legal.
It's that damn backdoor freaking gun show loophole.
Yeah, that's the gun show loophole. It is. It's depending on the state. You don't have to do paperwork, and it's not a loophole. It's just that's what they call it in the liberal media. Oh, it's the gun show loophole. You can just buy any gun anywhere and blah, blah. Well, no, you can't. Technically, and I've bought guns at a gun show without paperwork. But the guy made me show him my ID. All he needed to know is I was from South Carolina. I flashed a South Carolina driver's license in front of him. He's like, okay, as long as you're from South Carolina, we're legal.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even know. He didn't want to know my name. He didn't want to know the address. He didn't want to know the driver's license, identification number. All I had to do was flash it at him. He seen it was South Carolina driver's license, and it was my picture. He's like, okay, we're good. He just didn't want to get trapped in some kind of federal sting or something like that. He's just like, I just want to make sure you're from South Carolina. As long as you're South Carolina, I don't give a damn who you are.
And that's the one thing that we've all discussed, though. And I don't care if Daniel was my neighbor and he shot a gun that I was looking to get rid of. When I go to sell that, his signature is going to be on a piece of paper with the date, the time, what we agreed with the cost. There's going to be something that shows that I no longer have that gun, because if he has the gun for a year and then he sells it to whoever who does a crime, and that gun is going to come back to the original owner. And guess what? Nope. Here's the paperwork. Go talk to that guy down the street. Sorry to throw you under the bus like that, but that's how I roll.
I get that, and it's good to cover your ass, but I've never done it.
We sell it, it's gone. And I mean, it's like, no, I sold that gun. It's up to you to prove that I still have it or had it at the time of the crime.
Yeah, like I said, I get it, covering your ass, and
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with that, and you probably should, but I've never been involved where somebody wanted that. Not in South Carolina.
Yeah. And Blue, you being in law enforcement, to make sure you cover your butt. And that is smart.
Mm-hmm. But it just makes more sense, because, I mean, I would hate to see anybody get tied up in something. You sell a gun, 8-10 years ago, and then it comes back to bite you, because even though there's no registry, I guarantee you that we can figure out very quickly who the first purchaser of that gun was. Guarantee it. And that's where all roads lead. And innocent until proven guilty. That's only in the court's eyes. That's not not investigation wise.
And it depends on the state. You also got to remember, it depends if you bought the gun new to start with.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you didn't buy it new to start with, it ain't never had your name on it, period, to start with.
Actually, the easiest thing to do is just make sure that whenever you buy a gun, the first thing you do is get a Dremel, and there's these numbers on the side of the gun. just real, but you got to do it real nice and smooth, and grind those numbers off. But then you have to use the felt tip on that Dremel to polish it all nice and up so that it looks nice and smooth, so it doesn't make your gun look all messed up. Then you're definitely good.
I will admit, I would say at least half or the majority of the guns I have are registered to me. Like the latest little purchase, the old Kinetic. Hell, most of them, but I do have a lot of guns that are not registered to me that I bought used, and I would never think twice about selling them used. In my state of South Carolina, I wouldn't think twice about, selling them and not doing the paperwork, saying, oh, okay, I want you to sign this saying it's your gun now, because it was never in my name to start with, as far as the S.H.T.F or anything like that. One of these, it would be a little different, maybe, but at the same time, I've only sold 2 guns in my life. 3. One was 4. 2 were a trade, though. They wasn't really a sale. It was a trade. The two I sold outright. One of them did have my name on it, but he just gave me cash and I gave him the gun. But, you know. If anybody's going to go rob a bank with a 45 long Colt in single action, that was the last place they was probably going to get that gun, you know, to go rob a bank. All right. What's the next subject? That's about an hour. Guns and reloading.
Oh, I do have a subject that I want to bring up, but I want to go do a quick smoke break before I bring it up. But we'll kind of tease everybody with it. And TR, I already know the answer from you. I was going to ask if anybody's watched the TV show Waco. They had their first the premiere on last Wednesday. And what the hell is it on? It used to be the TNT channel, and now it's called Paramount Video or something like that. Just gonna get people's their thoughts and feelings on that TV show, because it was it went back to Ruby Ridge. It started talking about Waco. It's like a 6-part miniseries, so it's gonna go over the next 6 weeks, and the first episode definitely it's got me hooked.
I haven't seen it, but I probably will check it out to see what years later, how it's spun or how it's displayed, being somebody that lived not through it, but during that time and was really paying attention to it. I'm kind of curious to how they portray it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and while you go take a smoke break, I'll answer a question. Bizarrizza Gizza wanted to know, what did I upgrade for? I upgraded. I don't have it handy here, but one of my trades, I traded a Colt H-Bar 223 AR-15 for a Colt Mark IV, I think it is. Smart, yeah, I think Mark IV. Anyhow, CCO, of course, discontinued. Carry Colt 45 1911. That thing is sweet. I carried it for years. It's, in my estimation, worth $800 or $900, and the guy gave me $300 and that 1911 for the H-Bar. The other trade I traded a Smith & Wesson 686 for a Ruger GP100. The 686 had a 6-inch barrel, and I just wanted a shorter barrel. And so I traded it even Steven for a GP100 with a 4-inch barrel. Don't know if I come out good or not. I was happy with the trade, and I'm still happy with the GP100. So there you go. Go ahead, Red. Red's got a question too. What does Red's got?
Dun, 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 dun.
I'm more of a buyer. I'm not a seller or a trader, but I've never lost money on a gun. I can say that. What do you think about discontinued models? I'm not sure what he's asking.
Discontinued, like the Python, like the Anaconda.
Yeah, well, hell, about any Colts discontinued, ain't it? I think they still have a custom line. That's about it.
I'm still kicking myself. I didn't buy those when I was young and single, and I could have.
Yeah, the Anacondas have really surprised me. Those things have gotten to the collector status. I remember when they came out, I almost bought one. They wasn't real pricey when they first come out, but
I lived in San Diego. It was like in early 90s, and it was like $600 to $800 out in California. I don't know what the real world price was, though. I should have bought them.
I think they were cheaper than that here. I mean, like I said, they was a little pricey. In the 90s, if they were in the 700 range, that would seem pretty high, but doable. $600-700. I think that's all. Because I know the first Black Hawk I bought was like $350 brand new.
I think, well, the Black Hawks that I bought, I bought it for $200, $200, $200, 3 different times. I sold it 3 times. I bought it back. Just kept going back between my best friend and I.
Yeah, those are sweet. I remember you talking about that the other night.
And, I went out there and started shooting milk jugs with some really hot loads, hollow points. Oh, they just disappeared. Especially that first one, it was gone.
I know the last Python my dad bought, and it was in the, I would say it was in the 90s, early maybe 90s. Even then, he paid over $800 in the 90s for a Colt Python. That was a lot of money for a damn pistol.
Yeah. So, speaking of buying guns, have you released your video yet? I haven't seen nothing
On the rifle yet?
on the rifle.
I hadn't got it yet. The anticipation is killing me.
If it's the one I'm thinking you got, you did right. Especially getting the upgraded wood.
Yeah, well, I got it should be here. I'm hoping. I got to work next couple of days. It should be here by then. I should be able to do a video on it by Wednesday. I'm hoping. Got my fingers crossed. Bud's Gun Shop isn't the quickest to send out a gun, but within their realm of, okay, it may take 5 to 7 days to process and all that. I should have it by Wednesday or Thursday. But,
it's like, right. I mean, I'm sitting antsy too. A holster maker has my Shadow right now. And he's making some holsters up on it. And it's like, oh, are you done yet? And then it's like I went down to check, and my wife took her Remy down, and now it's getting a holster made for it also. So now it's like, now I got to wait on both guns.
I'm not going to brag because it hurt my bank account, but when you pay over $1,000 for a gun, you kind of expect it the next day.
Yeah.
It's like, well, what's the deal here? I ain't buying High Point here. Come on.
Hey. You're High Point for the guy miles of the factory. You can blow them up. You can run them over with a tank, and they're still going to shoot as long as you can carry that heavy thing.
Oh, well, I'm not making fun. I'm just saying when you spend 150 versus 1,000, red flag should go off somewhere. Oh, look, somebody spent a lot of money here. We better move them up on the list.
Well, but then it's like, how many $6,000 guns did they make?
Well, that's true. Yeah, I ain't got that kind of money. I didn't pay that for my truck.
Oh, you got a truck. Right now, I can't see any point in buying a truck because my wife and I work side by side during the same hours. What is this? What?
That bald said over a K for a gun. Hey, that's what I'm saying, dude. There's a lot of people who got a lot more money in guns than I got. For me, $1,000 for a gun or over $1,000 for a gun, that shit's like the stars had to be aligned. I had to think it through. I mean, it was like, do I really want to do this? $300 or $400, I can kind of like, okay, yeah, whatever. But 1,000, I'm like, holy crap, that's like 4 numbers there,
But you're single, TR. All your money's your own.
That's true.
I'm married. The only way I can get by that is like, when the guy at the counter shows it to me, I said, yeah, you show it to her. And if she looks like she's going to say yes, don't even ask me. Just start filling out the paperwork. And she did.
Which one did you get?
Oh, which one?
Well, the one CZ you were talking about the other day, or the one you were just talking about.
Okay, well, I already have this, the SPO.
Mm-hmm.
I bought the Shadow too.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is nice.
Oh my gosh. I'm 15 yards. I mean, me shooting I mean, like 1.5 inch groups with a whole clip. I mean, I shot one. I made a smiley face, and I wasn't even trying. Really, I was not trying to make that smiley face.
Yeah, I felt a few of them at the farm down at Rob's place last time we got together, and I didn't even shoot it, even though I was offered to shoot it. It's just like I dry fired it, and I was just like, no, just take this away from me because I like it too much.
You should have shot
I
it.
can't do it.
You should have shot it. If you would have shot
Well,
it,
because then I would have to be owning one.
yes, you would have been owning one. And now you're going to be where I am now, regretting not buying the Anaconda or the Python years back when I could have had it.
That's true.
I mean, I asked Mr. Holster if he's got any other. I mean, I haven't got any of those Kydex holsters. I've never owned one, but I'm wanting to try one out. And I was asking if he's still out there. Do you have those? I believe in spending money in the U.S. Maybe I should just have to ask Pops and Coda Boy. They'll know.
Yeah. All right, Blue.
What a miss.
We were just talking about guns.
Nothing.
I don't know if anybody else has seen the Waco episode you've talking about. I hadn't seen it. I am curious to see how they portray it.
Well, at least like 4 days ago, just on your tablet or computer, you could if you go to Paramount TV, I think it's whatever makes the movies. I think it's Paramount Pictures. But if you go to their website and you type in Waco, you can watch the first episode for free. So I mean, it's an hour-long episode, and it I don't know, it really it kind of blew my mind because like I said, they were talking about Ruby Ridge and how bad the ATF fucked that up, and basically their policies were shoot on sight if somebody had a firearm, and the guy's wife ended up getting killed, and that the ATF was so they were just so basically they were 2 seconds from getting shut down. There were people that were in the government that were getting ready to shut the ATF completely down. The Waco, Texas thing came up, and they were going to try to redeem themselves by this. And the first episode, I mean, you didn't get really too far into it, but everybody knows what happened at Waco, Texas, and it doesn't really look like the ATF did any good on that one either, and they're still around.
Yeah, that was something. I had a little bit of controversy here not long ago when the Las Vegas shooter thing happened. You know, 50-something people got shot, killed, whatever. And I kind of brought up, it's like, no, that's not the biggest American tragedy that happened. You know, Waco, our own government killed 80-something damn people. Whether you believe in their religion and what they were doing or whatever, our government killed 80-something people that wouldn't come out of a building. I don't care how you slice it, dice it, look at it, whatever. How do you justify killing 80-something people, women and children, just because they won't come out? Even if you think he's a madman and a cult or whatever, okay, they won't come out. Well, let's just kill them all. What the hell kind of damn thinking was that?
You can't justify that, period. And even Ruby Ridge, that started out with the ATF guy shooting the guy's dog.
Yeah, and the dog and his son. Wasn't it the dog? He shot the dog. The son came out, had a gun. A 13-year-old. Well, this is according to the TV show. This is not that. And they end up shooting him, and it was all over what started it all was basically a straw purchase on a shotgun or a sawed-off shotgun, something.
Yeah, it was just like we were talking about earlier, a guy buying a gun off another guy, or was it a straw purchase where he went to a gun store and then sold it to the guy? But it was the guy's.
It was an informant that was trying to get what's his head to saw it off less than 18 inches, and he didn't want to do it. And he wasn't loosely involved with some KKK and all that, and all that, you know, throw all that to the side. At the end of the day, after everything was done, after they killed his wife, and when they shot his wife, she was holding their baby or child. She wasn't even like out on the porch holding a gun at anybody. She was actually holding a child. They fucking dropped her on the porch. And then when it all was said and done, Randy White, somebody said, the gun was legal length. It wasn't even illegal that he sold.
Yeah, they were more after him for the part where he wanted to live up in the hills, live off the grid, and he was definitely part of some. I don't want to say it was a white supremacist group. I mean, it could have been an anti-government group. It was something, is what he was part of. But yeah, even the TV show portrayed Ruby Ridge as the snipers for the S.H.T.F were up in the hills, and they had the orders to shoot anybody that had a rifle or a firearm, and they started shooting at two separate individuals, and they made a break for the house. And as they were making a break for the house, the wife was opening the door to let them in, and that's when one of the rounds hit her as she was holding a kid.
Yeah, that could have been how it went down. Yeah, she was holding a kid, and she was the first person shot, I think, or thereabouts. And it was a big fucking, it was a clusterfuck, you know. And this is the Janet Reno, Bill Clinton, Hillary, all that horse shit going down. I mean, they were against the American people, against, I'm not going to call them patriots, but anybody that wasn't following what they wanted, they were trying to make examples of people, and they fucking backfired, and they tried their best to cover it up. I mean, it took years for all of it to finally go through, but by the time it finally went through, the American people had done lost interest in it. And just like I said, you know, the shotgun that the whole thing was over Ruby Ridge turned out to be legal, but a year, 2 years, 3 years later, nobody gave a shit. It doesn't happen and is in the past, even back then, you know. And
well,
go ahead.
Look at, I mean, what's going on here in our recent history with the ATF selling guns to drug runners. I mean, people's even forgetting about that.
Yeah, exactly. Now, there's one of the, I forget what, I don't know if he was state or federal, Senate or House in California, super anti-gun guy, got caught. He was running guns too. He was one of the ones running guns down to Mexico. Yep. If I'm not mistaken, he still got his freaking job.
Oh yeah. I can't remember. I can't write. That wasn't too long ago. I remember that coming up.
Here in the last year or so. Yeah.
That's why, even just in the back of my mind still, I keep remembering Vegas, because I just got this really sneaky suspicion that someday something's going to come out where somebody was trying to do a gun deal.
That's what I think it was. I think it was a gun deal that went down wrong. And for whatever reason, somebody opened fire just to cover their tracks and make it look like something it wasn't. None of that makes sense. And now they're even the latest news I heard about it, they're like, well, we think there's another person involved. It's like, well, no shit. And where's all the camera footage? He had cameras. The hotel has cameras. Nobody's seen anything. I mean, it's like, what are y'all covering up? If you're not covering up anything, he should have just went into his room. The shooting happened. Then the police show up. Well, I don't see any damn video of him going in his room. The shooting happened, and then the police show up. I hadn't seen anything to that effect.
And Blue can answer this question very easily. How can you tell when someone's lying?
Well, they say if they look away from you, but I'm bad about doing that anyway.
Well, It's if the first time their story changes.
Okay.
Yeah. And that story kept changing daily throughout the week.
Well, even the police said that this is the age of information. People wanted to answer quick, so we had to give them what we knew at the time. Okay, well, now it's different. You know, I mean, they kind of admitted that they screwed up by telling what little they did know, but they almost screwed up saying that the guy had, what was it, 3 or 4 cameras down the hallways. And it's like, and I understand there's an investigation going on, what happened and all that. And you can't just release all this information before things go through. But at the same time, he's dead. If he was the guy that supposedly done it, you're not hurting his case in court. What happened?
Yeah, exactly. The perpetrator is dead. It's not going to trial.
Mm-hmm. And isn't that I hate keeping jumping back to the Ruby Ridge thing, but that's the way that they ended up talking him out of the house, and he didn't end up dead, was because basically, and I can't remember the name of the other. There was another. Yeah, I don't want to use the word anti-government individual there, but there was a guy that spoke out against the government. He was, former military, and they brought him to the scene, and he was talking to him and said, look, basically, this is going to end 2 ways. You either come out peacefully so that you can tell your story and prove that the government's wrong, or you're going to end up dead, one of the two.
Yeah.
And the guy ended up coming out, and I saw somewhere, which is still, I don't know, this is the lawsuits that were from that, like each of the kids that were involved in it, they got like $1 million compensation from the government. And I know that the Randy, he only got like $100,000 compensation for what happened. But basically, he was one of the first people that were able to successfully sue the federal government. And then, I mean, $1 million isn't a lot for the kids, and then his little deal that he ended up with. But that goes to show that the government was wrong. He sued them, they sued them, and they won. And I don't want to say won. I don't know if there was a plea deal or a way to make it go away. We'll just pay you this much money if you shut up. But I mean, that was one of the first federal lawsuits that an individual put against the government that actually was able to go through.
Frank, I put in it. The guy that came in and talked to him was Bo Gritz.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah, I seen a video on that. It was made by a guy that was in politics and also got framed out by the government when the government was running drugs down to South America.
Mm-hmm.
So he had everything about Ruby Ridge, what went on, and a lot of the gun running down there, the Iran Contra. I mean, he had a lot of insider information. So, yeah, this stuff's been going on too long.
Well, what they tried to do back then, and all that happened in the 90s, right? Yeah. They tried to pick out some people and make examples of them, and it backfired. They picked out some people that didn't trust the government. Well, newsflash, if you trust your government, you're a freaking moron. I mean, don't get me wrong. I have faith that we can have a great country and have a good government. I hope, but I know that at the same time, there's a lot of corruption. There's stuff that's got to be dealt with. I mean, you have, as long as there's been government, there's been corruption. So even our founding fathers knew you can't trust the government. And they tried to set up a government that had checks and balances. Was it perfect? No. Did they make a great attempt? Yes. And if they hadn't have done as good a job as they have, we wouldn't have at least a decent enough country we have today. Just think if they just went ahead and said, oh, fuck it, let's just set up a monarchy, a dictatorship or whatever. I mean, we'd be no different than Venezuela or whoever. You know, they tried their best to set up some checks and balances, but they knew even with that it was going to be flawed and there was going to be problems. You know, as much as they want to harp on Trump being a racist, and you know, any of us that are conservatives or we're racist and we're this and that. Okay, I got off tangent. I was thinking of the KKK and the Democrat Party was in the back of my mind. You had freaking senators and representatives in the KKK. Guess what? They're all Democrats. You've had like you mentioned, Iran Contra, the hell just here the other day, the Fast and Furious with Obama. There's always corruption. There's always reasons not to trust the government. So just because somebody doesn't trust the government does not mean they're an enemy of the American public. And I think the whole Ruby Ridge Waco thing kind of, I don't know, in my mind, it defined that as the government is scared of the American people. And so they picked out people to try to make examples out of them. It just didn't work out, but they spun it the best they could to make it work out for them.
And how long did they keep amplifying the lie until it became old news and they were proven that they were lying?
Yeah.
And that's the one thing. I mean, that's the one thing that we as people, we can make a change, but however, I can see how it's happening because we're all kind of set in our own ways. Somebody could come out and say that Trump did this, and we have the proof that he did it. And there's some of us that probably wouldn't really want to believe it and would still be like, oh, but look what he did here, so he's okay, and we're going to let it slide. It's the same thing on both parties. I mean, look at all these Democrats right now that want to shut down the government again, which I think is coming up on the 8th of February. I think that's whenever this little layover ends, over DACA, over illegal immigrants. There is no way that any red-blooded American should ever vote those people back into office. However, those people's point of views, and maybe my point of views are skewed. I don't know. But there's no way those people should ever hold office again if they're willing to shut down the government over illegal immigrants, illegal immigration. If they're willing to let the American people suffer because of that, you should not hold an office, and people should vote them out immediately. But it's not going to happen. It's not gonna.
Yeah. Okay. Let's change gears since you did it already. Talk about DACA. To be honest, I'm just kind of still learning about all this thing. From what I understand here lately, the DACA thing was just given those dreamers, those so-called kids, basically, how was it worded? Like immigrant worker status.
I mean, you've got people. I know where the Scotsman stands on it. I don't know Bald, but these people are working like the Scotsman, and I'm going to just assume, yes, Bald, in working and paying thousands of dollars to go through the legal system to immigrate correctly. And then that last administration where they were hauling, anybody under 18 up to the border on trains, not a company, and bringing them across the border and picking them up in buses and taking them to other states. I mean, that was just wholesale crime. I mean, taking juveniles across not just state borders, but international borders, not accompanied by their parents. I mean, that there's got to be something on the books for that. But that was our government doing that.
Well, yeah. The whole DACA thing, even Obama said what he done before he done it would be illegal to do. And that's why I say, I think from what I understand, what he done, it's not that he gave amnesty to him, of course, because if he did, it wouldn't be a issue right now. We wouldn't be talking about it. But He just gave them like migrant worker status, which protected them not to be deported. But I don't know that that gave them a path to citizenship. So from what I understand right now, Trump and the Republican Party, or some of them, are offering a path to citizenship, you know, as a compromise to, we got to stop this from happening again. Let's close this freaking border off. I don't understand why people are so for illegal immigration, but not for legal immigration.
Yeah.
Because it's easier. It's the same fucking path that all of these recipients are used to. You gave me this, you gave me this, you gave me this. I don't have to work for a goddamn thing. So guess what? We can do the same thing for the illegals. Let's just make it as easy as hell instead of having them go through the proper process. And that's my nutshell of their mindset.
And all of the people that are coming here, the legal, the right way, they are ticked.
Yeah, absolutely.
They absolutely should be.
Let's see. Over the Bus wants to know, TR, what did you think of the straws being outlawed? I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about, but I don't think just because somebody is given legal status that if they go through the process, I don't think that their family should be automatically made a legal citizen, you know, or however you want to put it. The whole what do they call it, chain migration? No, you got to stop that. I can tell you right now, if I was an immigrant and I came to America and went through the freaking process, just because I made citizenship doesn't mean my family should get citizenship automatically just because I did.
Mm-hmm.
And I can say that 100% because I got a brother I don't even talk to now. You know, much less would let them into my house. Just because you're kin to somebody don't give you a path to nothing. But I am okay with them opening up the doors because they're talking about actually a 12-year process for these immigrants for a path to citizenship. So that's good. I have no problem with that because that means they're not going to just like stop the line of people that were coming in. It's like, okay, we got to integrate them into the line because we already let in over 1 million immigrants every year. It's okay. We'll add them to the list. Not add to the list, just add them to the list and let them get in line. Give them 10, 12 years to go through. And hey, if you don't meet the mustard, you're out. What's wrong with that? We already let that many in a year anyway. Why not put them on the list?
Well, and the thing that gets
If you're
me
so worried about the dreamers, what's wrong with that? Because the path that Obama gave them did not give them citizenship or even a path to citizenship.
How can we afford this? The country's 22 trillion in debt. People that work their whole life, and when it comes time to needing Social Security before 62, because they can't work, can't get it, they're automatically denied, and you got to wait 2.5 to 3 years even before to get a court hearing to go in there and say, here's the paperwork again, where these doctors all said, I'm in bed, and they are all in agreement, I cannot work, and I should not work. There are many people out there like that.
Well, see, that's the problem with the leaving them in a worker status or something like that. I would rather them become a citizen and then they have this, they're no different. Well, I wouldn't say no different, but they don't automatically get welfare benefits and all that just because they are on a visa. I see a big problem. Anybody on a visa, work program, anything like that, you shouldn't receive any government benefits whatsoever. Whatsoever.
I'll go to Chicago and see what kind of immigrants are there and and they're drawing welfare or, Social Security, whatever they're drawing there. And they're getting paid extra money because you get so much money per wife.
Yeah.
You can read between the lines on that.
Oh, I don't doubt it one bit. That's what I'm saying. I don't. Yeah, if you're not a freaking citizen, you shouldn't be receiving benefits already. Period. You know, we're bringing in people from freaking Syria and Iraq and stuff like that, and it's like, okay, well, here's your check, here's your bed, here's your place to sleep. Fuck that. How in the hell did that happen? And then the lottery program. Oh, we'll just pick names out of a hat and we'll make you a citizen and then give you damn benefits. We're not. How does anybody argue with that? How does anybody be for that? And
TR, it's not nice if we don't.
well, who said we had to be nice?
See, now, I know that you guys are in different states than I am, but polygamy, since Daniel kind of brought that up in a roundabout way, is it legal or illegal in your state to have more than one wife?
Illegal right now.
TR's like, shit, I don't have one now, so I don't need two.
Hey, if somebody wants that much multiplied fucking misery, I don't, why not? Go ahead. You.
Okay, don't throw stones at me for what I'm going to say. When they said, okay, men can marry men and women can marry women, that opened the door to polygamy. And that's just going to turn around and open the door to get rid of any restriction on what age people get married at. I mean, it's just a slow step-by-step process it's going through.
Oh, they definitely doing that. But I think federally, federally, you can't have more than one wife in a legal federal sense, at least. Right, Daniel?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But they're still paying benefits to people that do currently have more than one wife. Okay. I mean, in certain cities in the U.S.
Yeah, that's not surprising. At least on the state level, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's on the state level.
Yeah.
Because our state law says that you're not allowed to be married to more than one person. So if you have a certain sect of people that are moving into your areas, namely the bigger cities, and there's a state law, I'm not talking federal law, because we all agree that the federal law shouldn't interfere with state laws. But if your state law says, look, you're only allowed to be married to one person, and yet these other sects are moving in and saying, I want to marry my 13 wives, and you have no right to keep me from doing that because that's my religious belief. Isn't that like a contradiction?
Well, they're getting a way around that by they're already married to multiple people and they're coming in, but it wouldn't be nice to make them only choose one and divorce the rest.
The whole thing just it pisses me off when we are more as a nation willing to cater to outsiders than to hold our own values, and it's been going downhill steadily for decades.
And how do you change the demographics of a city or a country? You lower the people's living here now. Okay, they say, okay, just have 2 kids, the average household 2.3 whatever kids, and the people coming in have multiple wives, and you go to their countries and you see that one person can have over 70 kids. So if you get that going on here, it's only going to take maybe a couple generations, and the demographics is going to be totally changed.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. We are on and I know we've talked about it before with that certain sect of people coming in. That's how they say they're going to take over the world. I mean, that's their belief, and it's working. You can't fault them for their thought because it's working.
Yeah, that's the mindset, and they got a plan, and it's slowly working. And it's not so much that they're digging away at it and it's working; it's that we got. I mean, I hate to be insulting, but the liberal left has somehow got sold on it by politicians who 10 years ago were totally against immigration, illegal immigration, and benefits for illegal immigrants, and all of a sudden they're all for it. And they have convinced people on the left that, yeah, you're just a brutal fucking barbarian if you don't think we should just pour in everybody from every country in the entire world, pay their way through life, and do whatever their religion is. We need to start wearing the hijab. What do they call it thing? The hijab, whatever the fuck that thing is women wear around their head. And this and that and the other. And if they get raped in public, well, that was their own fault because they had a little skirt on. What in the hell happened to America?
Well, we're going to soon be right where England and Germany and those other countries that said, welcome, come on in. And they're having, the gang rapes in the streets.
And it's their fault. Well, I mean, it's not the women's fault, but that's what they tell people. Well, you're just going to have to adapt. This is just a new world, but bullshit.
Well, you just touched around the subject. That's the whole agenda.
Mm-hmm. It is. And it's more complicated. And as much as I thought I had a little handle on it, it's worse than I thought.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I don't know where to go with that.
Well, we got 20 minutes. Why don't we bring up the NFL with their wonderful? They're not playing an ad that was supposed to, or that the United States vets were going to put up, asking people to please stand for the national anthem. It was just an ad. It wasn't like part of the actual Super Bowl, and they outright denied that ad to be put on. Apparently, that money is not as good as everybody else's. Yes,
and that was just in the program. It wasn't even like a commercial, from what I understand.
I thought it was supposed to be a commercial.
No, it was just $30,000 in a program. Program. It was just an ad in a program. It wasn't going to be on TV, because there's no way in hell they got a $30,000 ad on TV for the Super Bowl.
When they took a knee and disrespected that flag, disrespecting everybody that's fought, bled, and died for this country, or just was separated from their families, and things like that right there. That's just pushing further down the road for what they said, that the government think tank said a few years ago, on who is the biggest threat to the government. Conservative, Christians, veterans. I'm a 3-time loser.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's just
their excuse was, well, we don't want any politics, and this is just a football game. It's like, well, as soon as they took a knee and you backed them, you made it political.
Oh, absolutely.
You're the ones that made it political. We didn't.
Mm-hmm. No, that's just it irritates the shit out of me. I mean, it's been 2-3 years coming, at least 2-3 years coming. And this one, I every time that I say that, this is the icing on the cake, what they did this last time was the icing on the cake. They come out and they pull this shit, and now this is the icing. They keep stepping it up. I mean, it's like, what in the fuck are you guys thinking? You don't want to make anything political. We're putting an ad, and it's a vets ad that basically just says, please rise for the playing of the national anthem. No, you took that 2 years ago. You took that 2 years ago whenever you made it okay for players to do it while they're being paid by you to do it. If these guys want to kneel when they're not being paid, by all means, I have no issues with that. That is my biggest issue from day one in the NFL. I've said fuck them now for, it's got to be close to 3 years.
Yeah.
I was on the fuck them train before everybody else jumped on. So
yeah, I don't watch NFL. So, and I didn't watch it even before they started taking a knee, but then it's like, I got to watch my mouth, but I'll go into the break room and they're watching TV on the weekend. And I'm like, what are you still watching the fucking NFL for? You know, and you'll have somebody, oh, yeah, we'll bring up the knee thing. Oh, well, that's what it's not about. That's what, by God, it is too. You're talking to a veteran here. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. They're saying, fuck you, America.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're okay with fuck you, America, I just know where you stand now. And I had to walk away because I don't want to get into an argument and blah, blah, blah. You know, it's just like, the fuck.
That's TR. That's when you walk up to the TV and rip it off the goddamn wall and whoops, it fell on the ground. Oops.
Well, that's the thing about, you know, with your job or whatever, you know, you got to watch the, what line you're going to cross or whatever. And some people are just, their viewpoint. And of course, you know what they're watching, if they're watching anything. And they're so easily swayed, they can't see the truth. If it hit them upside the head with a 2x4 attached to it, they're going to believe whatever they want to believe. And there's nothing you can do to say or change what they believe. And it's a sad state of affairs. You can't have a conversation with them because they're going to get all defensive. You can't have an intelligent conversation. Excuse me. I like to think on this chat, if somebody's in the external, in the live chat out there, and they disagree with us, that we could have a conversation about it. I know I hadn't always been the best at it, but I do try to have an actual conversation. And I would hope any guest that was on, we can have a conversation. Even if I totally disagree with you and you totally disagree with me, well, let's debate on it. Let's talk about it. But there's most of the people you run into, you can't have a conversation with. They've already made up their mind. And I know we're bullheaded, or at least I am. I'm bullheaded. I got my point of view and I, you know, want it across. But I will listen. I mean, I like to think I will, you know, and I've changed my mind on many subjects doing these chats. I have totally flip-flopped on the opposite side of what I believed at one time from conversations on these chats. And I hope to invite that on these chats if we do. I mean, right now we're all on agreement. But, you know, now or in the future, I mean, if we disagree or don't understand something, let's have a conversation on it. And I've really been watching a lot of left-wing Democratic TV here lately, just to see how they spin things and stuff. And because I know, you know, a lot of people know I'm dating Sonya, you know, and she watches both of them. She, you know, and she's like, well, I'm just not really sure who's right or whatever. And then some things I kind of look at her and it's like, well, it's pretty freaking obvious what's right. So I am a little biased, I know, but if you take something that's just look at the facts, that's the facts. I don't care how you spin it, how you twist it, what kind of sweetener you put on it, put some fucking cherry on top or whatever. The facts is the facts. I don't care how you try to present it. It is what it is to a point, you know.
Well, I just saw something come through my my news feed today, and here again, this is how much power, how much I don't even know the right word to put here. Basically, an NFL player got arrested yet again. Held up, I don't want to say held up an Uber driver, but he got charged with robbery. So apparently, he had an Uber driver. He took something by force. I don't know what it was, or he didn't pay the Uber. And a scuffle happens. I don't know the backstory, but already this just happened, and already the attorneys are like, we expect these charges to be dropped. I mean, this is the power that these people, and it's not power, it's the money. I mean, You know, I was a Pittsburgh Steelers fan for a long goddamn time. Ben Roethlisberger, there again, he got accused, and I'll put that up there, the air quote, he got accused of sexual misconduct, and then all of a sudden it just went away. And there was articles that I read that showed that this female was paid off to drop it. You know, and that's what it comes down to. You're accused, you got the money, you get rid of it. It's just, I don't understand how the NFL has got so powerful in the United States. I mean, Christ, they're more powerful than the church. I mean, literally.
Well, I've seen some things about the NFL, looking up the records of all the NFL players. I can't remember the numbers, but the majority of them had a criminal background. And, you know, that's what they were saying. It was like the National Felon League. But all of a sudden, they're they're all high and mighty and the moral right of America, and the majority of them have felony records.
Mm-hmm.
Domestic violence, firearm charges, drug charges, you name it.
Was it like in the 60s or 70s or 80s? When did it change? Because before, I mean, a lot of professional teams, they wouldn't take somebody on that had a record.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big deal. But now the money, I guess, you know, okay, we'll slack our morals to make more money.
Do you guys remember, and this wasn't very long ago, I don't care what professional sports team it was, and I mean professional, I'm not talking college. Do you remember whenever they would show up at a game? I'm not saying practice, but at a game, it was like a requirement, suit and tie. That's what they arrived at the game in. They showed class. They showed, you know, that they gave a shit about what their persona was. They showed up in suit and ties, and that stuff just doesn't happen anymore. I mean, that's so, you know, doesn't really have anything to do with what we're talking about other than image. It's the image. Now they're showing up in fucking sweats. They got their goddamn Bluetooth headphones on, and they don't care two shits about the little kid standing at the end of the line. You know, sign my autograph, sign my card. I mean, it's all about them. It's all about them, and it's almost any professional team anymore, except the NHL. Woohoo! Rock on, hockey.
No, it is true. Yeah.
But they all did. I mean, is it just me remembering a false memory that they all used to?
I think even, you know, in our childhood, or especially mine and Daniel's, you're a little younger than us, Blue, but even you remember it. And yeah, they were big superstars, but at the same time, I think they had a little rapport with the people. They kind of had a little, I mean, I'm not saying every freaking one of them, but most of them had a understanding that I'm here making a lot of money because these people want to see me play. And now I kind of get the feeling, especially with social media and everything else, it's like their heads are so big. It's like, I don't need y'all. Y'all need me. And that's not the way it used to be. I think most of them realize I need you. You don't need me. Mm-hmm. Now it's like, no, you need me. I don't need you. I'm such and such.
Yeah. I back in the day,
gold necklace, you know, this freaking big login chain of gold under my freaking jersey playing football. What the fuck is that? Because I seen something on some news program, and somebody was trying to rip a gold necklace off a guy playing football. And I'm like, what the hell do you have a necklace on for anyway? He's playing football.
Get robbed in the tackle. I love it. I mean, back in the day, they were professionals, and they were expected to dress like professionals and act like professionals. Now each one of them has their own entourage.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And was it here we're going way back into sports. Don Mattingly, I think he used to play for the Yankees. He was a pitcher. There again, I might be completely wrong, but there was like his hair got a certain length that was down below the collar or down below the shoulders, and he was either suspended or sued or something because he refused to cut his hair. And the Major League Baseball league was like, absolutely not. You're cutting the shit or you're not playing for us. Does anybody, am I right? Does anybody remember that? Oh, somebody's like, oh, everybody's like first base. He was first base. I thought he was a pitcher, but I mean, that was back in the day where, you know, you were expected, like you guys just said, you were expected to act like a professional, dress like a professional, look like a professional. And he bit back, I'm not cutting my hair. And they're like, oh, hell yes, you are. I don't know what the outcome was, but that was like one of the first retaliations, or one of the first, you know, stand up against the owners that are like, no, I'm not doing it. But that was I just, for some reason, that one stuck out in my head whenever we're talking about dressing like professionals. I just remembered he had longer hair. And
I just remember that Pepsi commercial way back in the day with Mean Joe Green. I mean, this guy was a beast out on the field and had the reputation. I mean, he would tear people apart. But that Pepsi commercial and stuff, he comes up there. This kid, you know, gives him a Pepsi, and he just like growls at him, opens, drinks the thing, and looks at the kid and says thank you, and boom, throws him his jersey, gives him his jersey. I mean, even the badasses back then treated kids and the fans with respect.
mm-hmm.
I remember that commercial.
Didn't Pepsi redo it with the little girl with the curly hair?
I don't know. I missed that one.
I don't know.
There was a little girl in the Pepsi commercials, and she was like the big thing for Pepsi for almost, it had almost been a year. But I just thought I remembered. I know what commercial you guys are talking about, the original, but I think they redid it with a girl in it, I think.
But, you know, there's just a disconnect. I mean, I know we're getting off tangent here talking about professional sports, but there's just a disconnect between these professional athletes and the people that are making them the money they're making. And I think the NFL's feeling it now, but they're not really addressing it like they should. I mean, they got some kind of I hate to say it, but left-wing liberal point of view about it. And it's like, well, we can't really touch this subject. They're right. All right. All right. That's a good point there.
Okay. With all these NFL people, I mean, these players, anybody out there that's still watching the NFL, how much longer are you going to let these people piss down your leg and tell you it's raining and you are lower than crap?
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay. The point I was going to make, that's their job to go out there and play football, and they're good at it, and that's fine. And I hope they do well. I hope they make a lot of money. But to say that's their First Amendment right to take a knee is total bullshit. They don't have the First Amendment right to take a knee at a football game. They don't have that. And here I'm going to make my point. Me, Blue, Daniel, say you got a job, whatever. Do you have the constitutional right to say whatever the fuck you want, do whatever you want under the Constitution at work? I know I don't. I can't go into work, bust open the damn CEO of the company, tell him I think he's a piece of shit. I mean, and I don't. I mean, whatever. I can't go in there and cuss him out and then claim I got the First Amendment right. I can tell you whatever I want. I can cuss you out. I can do whatever I want to my boss, my whoever. It's my First Amendment right, and keep my job. Your First Amendment right don't have a damn thing to do with your job.
All right, perfect scenario. Let's say me and the job that I do, law enforcement, TR, I know you would never, ever do this, but I'm going to throw you under the bus for it. TR is the head of a protest, and he decides that he's going to burn the American flag right in front of my face. If I step in and I grab that flag, I do whatever, I'm up for suspension and or immediate termination because I just violated his constitutional rights, standing up for my constitutional rights while I was on the job. If I was a Joe Blow citizen, I'd be okay. I could do whatever I want. However, I'm working. I can't do that.
And there is the difference. And technically, I don't think you would still be wrong. But what people don't realize is the First Amendment only protects you from the federal government from quelling your speech or keeping you from your First Amendment right to speak. Only the First Amendment only protects you from the federal government from stopping your speech.
Mm-hmm.
I guess you could get into if the state done it, that would fall under that as well. You know, like you could fight, well, that's my First Amendment right, and the state stopped me, and the federal government could come in and say, that's right, you can't stop them from their First Amendment right. But as far as your right, your First Amendment rights as a citizen at your job, and if you're a football player, it's a job. The owner of the company can say, you know what? Fuck you, you're fired, or you're not playing today, or I'm not going to pay you this week. That is not covered under your First Amendment right. Your First Amendment right is only that the government cannot stop your free speech, not your employer, your government.
Okay, I want to translate this into Second Amendment speak for all those gun fans out there. Yes, you have a Second Amendment right to have and own a firearm. A Second Amendment right to carry that firearm anywhere you want, except until if you work for an employer that has that little gun with an X on it, and they tell you if you ever bring a gun in here, you're fired. Guess what? You're fired, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Yep.
Because you're on the clock, or you're their employee.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I think most of us have it. Well, maybe not blue, but I know I can't open carry into my job. I can't go cuss out the fucking plant manager and say it's my First Amendment right. Carry a gun out on the floor, say it's my Second Amendment right. They can search my locker, violate my Fourth Amendment right, and on and on and on. Those are not your rights at your employer.
No, it's not the government. It is a private property, private employer. They can do what the fuck they want.
And people don't get it. That's why I don't really like the TSA, and I don't believe in the TSA. Now, if American Airlines, they want to do a body search, a fucking x-ray, they want to do this and that and the other, and we're going to search your bags and all this before we let you on this flight. Well, I have a choice. I can say, well, okay, yeah, I got nothing to hide. Do it. But when it's the federal government and the TSA that says, hey, we're going to do an x-ray, we're going to do a body search, we're going to do this and this and this. Well, you just violated my damn Fourth Amendment right off the bat. I don't agree with it. If American Airlines wants to do it, or whoever else airlines, it's my choice. But to fly, period, I have to let the TSA violate my Fourth Amendment rights. That's when I have a problem with it. Because that right's actually protected, even though they have turned a blind eye to it. I know I got way off subject there, but we might as well just throw a curveball in there. We was talking about sports anyway. But me and some guys were talking about that at work the other day, and it's like, look, you gave up several rights just to walk in here and clock in today. And your Constitution didn't protect not one fucking one of those rights. Because you don't have the right to free speech here. You don't have the right to the Second Amendment. You don't have the right, your Fourth Amendment right. None of that. They got cameras everywhere in here. You don't got a right to fucking protest that shit and say that's a violation of my 5th or 4th Amendment. No, you don't. You gave up those rights to come to work. When the government does it, that's when you have a right.
And there's always ways away or ways to get around that, because let's just look. Do you guys, when you were in high school, did you ever have the local police department show up with dogs and they search your lockers or do that? Or was that before your time? Or after? I guess it'd be after your time.
Yeah, after our time.
Well, they made it pretty prevalent, after, I would say, the 90s, mid 90s, that, police dogs would come into the schools and search. It's not that there is a constitutional challenge there, because the schools own the lockers. The police bring in the dogs sniff the lockers, the school officials search the lockers, and if they find something, they turn it over to the police. So, that's just one of those, that's how they can get you. I mean, is it a violation of your privacy? Probably, but you have no rights in that school as owning the locker. The right to privacy is, their student handbooks or whatever show. So, I mean, it's ways to get around. It's ways to get around certain things. And I'm sure that employers could probably do the same thing. If you work at a factory or whatever, and for whatever reason, the employer says, hey, it's already in the policies that, you drive onto our lot, we have a right to search your vehicle for whatever reason, find guns, find drugs. If they contract out a police department to come in to do the external sniff or whatever, as long as the company is the one actually doing the search, yeah, there's technically no constitutional violation. Technically. I'm not saying it's right. It's technically.
Well, for the most part, the Constitution is protection against the federal government. And like I said, if the state government oversteps their bounds, the federal government can come in and overrule something. But the bottom line is the Constitution protects you against a federal government, not the state government, not the county government, not your fucking employer, none of that. Just the federal government. The federal government can't tell me to shut up. YouTube can tell me to shut up and shut my channel down. And it's a private company and they can do that. And it really irks my ass. I keep hearing people bitching about YouTube and it's my freedom of speech. No, the fuck it ain't. YouTube can do whatever the fuck they want. It's a damn private company. It's not your damn First Amendment right. You can't say whatever you want on YouTube and them demonetize it, and then you get all butthurt about it. It's a private company. They do whatever they want.
Right.
That was a little bit off tangent, but kind of. I seen Luke had his YouTube chat tonight, an informed state of mind about monetization. I got to go back and watch it here in the next day or two. Because if you got into YouTube to make money and they shut you down and then you cry First Amendment, rethink that. Because it's not your First Amendment right to be on YouTube and make videos about whatever you want. Just like it's not the NFL's First Amendment right to take a knee. They can do it if their employers allow it.
Mm-hmm.
But their employers don't have to allow it. And if their employers say, if you take a knee, you're fired, they can't claim First Amendment. First Amendment's only against the federal government. The federal government can't say you can't take a knee. Period. Other than that, they can say, "Ah, fuck you, you're done." All right.